Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. I am Taisha Morin. I support career and technical education recruitment here at NYC Public Schools. Tonight, we're going to speak about the transitional A pathway for becoming a CTE teacher. If you're a career changer who is thinking about shifting to teaching from your industry area, then you're in the right place. If you are already a certified CTE teacher or a certified teacher in another subject area, join one of our general monthly info sessions to learn more about the application process, and you can access that through the QR code here. We have a lot to cover tonight, so let's get started. We're hoping you walk away with the following tonight. Know the key details about CTE, an understanding of the CTE landscape at New York City Public Schools, including why it's such a big priority for this administration. Understand the application and certification process to becoming a CTE teacher. Begin determining your own eligibility and pathway to becoming a CTE teacher. So why teach at New York City Public Schools? When you join New York City Public Schools, you join the largest, most dynamic district in the nation. And we're going to take a closer look at what that looks like. So New York City Public School has over 900,000 students who speak over 180 languages, a network of 77,000 fellow teachers and New York City educators that have the unique privilege and responsibility to jumpstart the next generation of innovators, leaders, and citizens. NYCPS is comprised of 1,600 schools that are diverse as our students and the distinctive neighborhoods we serve. Within our schools, teachers build connections with their students, colleagues, and families to support relationship building and learning outcomes. To give you a sense of the growing need for teachers, the New York State law limiting class size means the need for teachers across New York City is growing significantly. We're hiring at a record rate and need to be thinking long term about who we're going to make sure we have, um, how we're going to make sure we have a strong pipeline of high quality educators to meet the needs across New York City. New York City Public Schools is always growing, as we said, with new schools opening each year. This fall, we will have 7 new schools opening. And now we can take a look at some of our salary and benefits. As of this year, teacher salaries at NYCPS starts at 71,314 for a bachelor's and no experience, and 80,166 with a master's and no experience. Teachers' starting salaries vary based on education and experience, and they can earn additional compensation for teaching after school and summer school programs and for teaching in demanding environments. As their career progresses at New York City Public Schools, teachers can earn longevity bonuses and have opportunities to move up salary steps. And these are the starting salaries, but we like to give a sense of like what to expect your salary can be as you develop in your career. And as I said, you can scan that QR code to learn more. And here you can find additional resources regarding salary on the New York City Public Schools website, as well as the UFT website, which is the United Federation of Teachers, by accessing these QR codes. And you'll find extensive resources regarding salary and benefits, especially on our website. We have a salary and benefits information session that you can attend if there's an upcoming date or access a recording. Now we will take a look at the robust benefits. Comprehensive health insurance plan includes dental, vision, prescription drugs. Some of these plans require no employee contribution. Annual retention bonuses prorated during your first year and increase each year. Membership with the United Federation of Teachers, which is UFT. Enrollment in a pension plan. New York City Public Schools employees are eligible for many additional benefits, including commuter benefits, a college savings program, and employee discounts on everything from technology and media to travel and education. In addition, we have scholarships, financial incentives, and other special programs that are available to many of our employees. There are also exciting loan forgiveness programs you could be eligible for as a New York City Public Schools teacher. NYCPS employees may also be eligible for the Public Service Loan Forgiveness program, also known as PSLF. The PSLF program forgives the remaining balance on your direct loans after you've made an equivalent of 120 qualifying monthly payments under an accepted repayment plan and while working full time for an eligible employer. You can learn more here. Excuse me. New teachers at New York City Public Schools hit the ground running with professional resources and learning opportunities tailored just for them, in addition to the many career development opportunities available to all teachers. We offer robust supports for our new teachers in person, online, community settings. This includes New Teacher Week, an annual event where new teachers can get inspiration from special guest speakers, learn about key policies, engage with the UFT, and network with their fellow teachers. School-based mentoring, which new hires are assigned an experienced and trained mentor teacher to support professional growth throughout your first year. First Class Newsletter, which is a monthly digital bulletin for first-year teachers that spotlights vetted resources, teaching tips, and answers common questions. Teachers at New York City Public Schools, no matter where they are in their careers, also have access to professional development opportunities at their schools, including coaching, professional development days, and after-school learning opportunities. In addition to school-based supports, optional development opportunities are made available by various teams, including NYCPS offices and the UFT. We also offer digital resources for busy teachers to find resources for their classroom and regularly stay connected to opportunities to extend their learning and impact. So, who are we looking for? New York City Public Schools is dedicated to attracting and retaining the very best teachers for our schools. We are looking for passionate, collaborative, and committed teachers who reflect the incredible diversity of our student body. Passionate. Our team of exceptional educators are passionate about educating urban students, truly believing in the power of education that it can make in the lives of our students. Collaborative. Our teachers thrive on constant learning and collaboration with colleagues. Committed. Our teachers go above and beyond for students, understanding students' challenges and embracing their potential. And diverse. We seek teachers who are as diverse as our students. Help put our students on a path to college, careers, and a lifetime of learning. So we'll start by focusing on career and technical education, what it is, where we see the greatest need, and what it is like to teach CTE at NYCPS. So, what is CTE? Career and technical education teachers provide academic and technical instruction alongside work based learning experiences for high school students in New York City Public Schools. NYCPS currently offers 260 plus programs of study across 130 plus schools spanning across 16 CTE industry areas. And why is New York City Public Schools so committed to expanding CTE opportunities? And what do teachers find so inspiring and meaningful as a CTE teacher? Teaching CTE is a great way to use your industry experience to prepare students for life after high school and to introduce them to a career to career opportunities and requirements. Students are able to develop skills needed for specific career areas through their hands-on learning experiences in high school. Some of the CTE industry areas include computer technology, nursing, business, and more. You can visit the state's website to learn more about the industry requirements for each industry area, and we'll talk more about how to find out if New York City Public Schools has a CTE program in your industry area later in the session. We are especially interested in applicants with experience in high demand fields such as technology, computer science, healthcare, and trades and technical services. If you have industry experience in these areas, you can expect to see more CTE teaching opportunities available. We're excited to take a few minutes for you to hear about the impact of CTE at New York City Public Schools from the perspective of our students and teachers. So I'm going to share this video. We hope you enjoyed learning about the impact of CTE from our students and teachers. Now we will dive into CTE teacher certification pathways, exploring the most common options, providing examples, and guiding you on how to choose the pathway that best suits you. If you're a career changer, the best pathway to become a CTE teacher is through Trans-A certification. A Trans-A teaching certificate allows the employment of individuals with industry experience who meet the education and or occupational requirements of the New York State Education Departments for a career and technical education industry area. What is so unique about Trans-A certification is that it allows you to teach before receiving an initial certificate, which is the typical first certificate for most New York City Public Schools teachers. So let's take a look at the difference between a traditional teaching certification and a Trans-A certification. In the traditional teaching program, candidates must earn your teaching certificate before they can teach in the classroom. They must obtain a bachelor's degree in education. Typically takes about 4 years and requires specific coursework and in-field teacher training. On the other hand, Trans-A certification is a non-traditional route to becoming a teacher. It allows candidates with industry experience to share your related industry experience and knowledge with students without having to go to a teacher prep program. And you can earn a CTE teaching certificate without prior teaching experience. Trans-A certification is provided by the New York State Education Department, also known as NYSED. We'll review this process tonight, but note that we do not make final award determinations. A Trans-A certificate allows you to teach grades 7 to 12 for 3 years. Within those 3 years, you will need to remain at the same NYCPS school and complete the course work requirements to apply for an initial certificate. And we'll talk a bit more about this later on as well. You can use the QR code provided here to review the NICED experience requirements by title. Here you can identify the industry area in which you have the most experience and or education. This tool gives a detailed description of what work experience NICED is looking for in your desired industry area. And throughout the presentation, you'll be able to access other resources that will help you make these determinations. But this particular tool gives a descriptive explanation about what the work experience should look like, not just the length of time that you have had to work in the field. So there are many different pathways teacher candidates can take to receive a Trans-A certification. The pathway you choose will likely depend on your education level, your industry experience, and an industry credential if you have any. Tonight, we will be going over some of the most common pathways and we'll share information about where you can get more details about all the pathway options. As we stated, there are multiple pathways available for Trans-A certification. This chart shows at the high level, multiple pathways available for Trans-A certs. Again, the pathway you choose will likely depend on your education level, your industry experience, and industry credentials if you have. This tool here is the New York State's certification requirements search page. Uh, this is where you're going to search for relevant pathway requirements for your industry area. Be sure to check the web page carefully to find the specific requirements for your industry area as they are unique for that industry area. When searching on this page, you'll put the following information in the drop-down menu. Select career and technical teacher as your area of interest and the industry area as your subject area. The grade level dropdown will only offer grade 7 to 12, and then you will select the specific title you want to see the qualifications for. Then you will select Transitional A as a cert license, and press search to see all the specific pathway requirements for your industry area. As I said earlier, the first tool gives you a descriptive explanation of the particular work experience NICET is looking for. This one gives you a listicle view of the pathways available and the amount of years and additional requirements that are needed for your particular industry area. So you would use those two tools to make determinations about your eligibility. There are some items that are required for a Trans-A certificate across all pathways. These requirements include completing 3 workshops, committing to teaching at the same NYCPS school for 3 years of your Trans-A certification, receiving your year of mentoring and daily supervision for your first 20 days of teaching, fingerprint clearance. We'll talk a bit more about some of these requirements tonight, and you can also find more information in the links um, included in these QR codes. Pathways A and B are the most common pathways CTE candidates use to get their Trans-A certification. To qualify for Pathway A, you must have at least an associate's degree in the field you are applying for and a minimum of 2 years of work experience in the field. Pathway B is also very popular. To qualify for this pathway, you must have at least a high school diploma and at least 4 years of work experience in the field that you're applying for. And you must take and pass the New York State Teacher Certification Exam, communicative and quantitative skills. You can find more about this test at this link in the QR code provided. Some additional pathways we see candidates use are pathways G and J. To qualify for pathways G, you must have at least 2 years of work experience in the field you are applying for, as well as hold an industry credential or pass a state approved industry exam. To qualify for Pathway J, you must have a bachelor's degree or higher in the field and either 1 year of work experience or an industry credential. As you can see, each pathway is unique and there are further nuances within pathways depending on your industry area. You'll want to be sure to check the state certification requirements page and the industry requirements page to see what you might qualify for. We know that navigating pathways can be quite complex. So let's talk through a couple of examples. In this example, Lena has an associate's degree in mechanical engineering technology from Queensborough Community College, and she has worked for 5 years as a mechanical engineer. Lena should pursue Pathway A because she has an associate's degree in the industry field, as well as 2 years of work experience in the field. As a second example, let's take a look at David. David has worked as a registered nurse in a New York hospital for 3 years. Because David has an industry related credential, which is his registered nursing exam, and has at least 2 years of work experience, he should pursue Pathway G. As our last example, let's consider Jasmine. Jasmine has been working as a hairstylist and a manicurist since she graduated high school and has obtained her New York State cosmetologist license. Jasmine should pursue Pathway B, which does not require any higher education after high school or GED. However, Jasmine will have to take the New York State Communication and Quantitative Skills exam. Note that according to the NYCED, requirements page, a cosmetology license is required for all pathways to become a CTE cosmetology teacher, even where an industry license isn't listed as a requirement. This is why it's so important to carefully check the NICE's requirements page for your industry area and pathway. And this is the last example, but I want to reiterate that For the other examples where we made determinations about which pathway is best for those candidates, outside of this candidate here that's only eligible for pathway B, there are probably other options that those candidates might also qualify for. So you might utilize the resources and say, well, there are multiple pathways that I could possibly qualify for. Use the tools and resources to make the determination about which pathway is best suitable for you to obtain Trans A certification. So we will now dive into next steps to becoming a CTE teacher and the job search process. We know that the CTE application and certification process can be quite confusing, so we've broken it down the process into 6 steps, which we will now walk through in detail to help you kickstart your CTE journey at New York City Public Schools. So the first thing you're going to do is select your CTE industry area. Be sure to carefully read the requirements on the state's website to make sure you will meet the qualifications for your selected area. Next, you want to select your certification pathway for your selected industry area. Look at the various pathway requirements on the state's website. Ask yourself these questions to determine what pathway is right for you. What is your education level and background? What is your work experience? What, if any, industry credentials do you hold? Have you completed industry level assessments? Remember, there's no one size fit all when choosing your pathway. Step 3, as we mentioned, you will also want to create a NYC Teach account to apply for Trans A certification. This is where all your documents related to your certification, like education transcripts, workshops, industry credentials, etc., will be uploaded. So this is remember, NYC makes determinations regarding certification, and then NYCPS is where you secure a role. But we'll continue to reiterate that. So your required documentation will depend on the pathway you selected. However, all pathways will be required to submit a work verification form to NYSED. Please be sure to get a copy of any work verification form submitted on your behalf. You may need it to follow up. And this is a form that NYSED utilizes to make determinations around your work experience outlined in your resume to determine if it meets the requirements for the industry area and pathway that you're applying for. So it's important to submit this as part of your teach application, and there's information on the slide regarding this. And as we mentioned again, NYCPS is a separate entity from NYSED certification. You'll need to complete both, and honestly, you should do them at the same time. In order to submit your New York State Public Schools teacher application, you can visit teachnyc.net, and the 2026-2027 NYCPS teacher application is open. So apply now to gain access to CTE job opportunities at New York City Public Schools. Next, you're going to want to update your resume to get ready to be for your CTE teacher application. And here are some tips to consider when updating your resume. Make sure relevant experience for your industry areas is visually prominent with headings like related industry experience. Be sure to clearly describe your roles and responsibilities and highlight your years of experience. Keep in mind that your resume is pertinent to the review of your NYCPS teacher application. It will allow us to review your experience against the requirements of the New York State Education Department for your desired industry area, which will determine if your application will be successfully screened and gain access to the to NYCPS CTE job opportunities. We're almost there. Be sure to complete required workshops. NYCPS is an official provider of these workshops, which you can find more information about on this webpage by accessing the QR code. So you selected your industry and pathway, you submitted your NYSET and NYCPS applications, and collected your updated resume and documentation. It is time to begin your job search now. Our office will review your New York City Public Schools teacher application. If it seems like you've met the state's requirements for your selected industry area and pathway, your application will be entered into the new teacher finder. This is our online job board, and we'll talk more about this shortly. Remember that you are responsible for finding your own job and securing a job offer and committing to 3 years of teaching at um, the same NYCBS school is a requirement by NYSED for obtaining Trans A certification. So we offer lots of different job search supports and encourage you to take advantage of them all, including researching schools online, conducting direct outreach to schools using the new teacher finder and vacancy list. We send you via email and attending workshops and networking events that you're invited to. One helpful job search tool, as we mentioned, is the new teacher finder, which is also known as the NTF. Once you submit a high quality application, you will get access to the NTF. You'll be able to log in to use the new teacher finder in several ways. Your application profile will become viewable to principals and recruiters. You'll be able to search for teacher positions. It's important to know that not all principals list their positions in the NTF, but many do. And this will give you um, a sense of what's out there. Principals may not post positions, but they could be looking and reviewing resumes to see which candidates can be a better fit for their schools. If you are if you're certified in a high need subject area, you may receive invitations to NYCPS sponsored recruitment events throughout our recruitment season. And it's important to note that not all candidates are invited to all events online and in person. Um, Overall application quality, event capacity, and current certification needs are taken into consideration when inviting candidates to networking events. So here's a screenshot of what the NTF looks like. After selecting search all positions on the left panel, you can filter for position type, your preferred borough, grade level, and subject area. Principals enter their vacancies into the NTF, and while you can express interest via the NTF, you should also email principals directly. Whew, okay. So we made it this far and we're almost at the end. Let's briefly recap the CTE process and your next steps, as well as where you can get additional support. As a brief recap, Translate certification is the main route for non-teacher candidates to teach CTE. There are multiple pathways to Trans A certification depending on your education and industry experience. Meeting the requirements of a pathway of your desired industry area is required for your NYCPS teacher application to be successfully screened. Securing employment with New York City Public Schools and committing to 3 years at the same NYCPS school is a requirement to obtain um, Trans certification in addition to the requirements outlined in the presentation, and follow the steps outlined to get started. As a preview to what happens after you receive a job offer, your principal will coordinate the next steps with the districts Human Resource Director, or the HRD. The HRD will contact you for documentation to submit to NYCPS's CERT office. If the documentation submitted indicates that you meet the state's requirements for your selected pathway, the CERT office will grant you a temporary certification so you can begin teaching. Note that they will only do this if they are confident that you meet the state's requirements, so be sure to double and triple check those requirements on the state's websites before applying. As we mentioned, the Trans-A certificate is valid for 3 years. Within those 3 years, you will need to complete 3 courses, 9 credits total, as well as paid teaching. Visit the webpage linked here for additional information through the QR code. And visit our online support center for 24/7 support with the application and the hiring process. The support center contains hundreds of articles about every stage of the application and hiring process, as well as a contact us button where you can submit your questions to the TRQ help desk for a personalized response. Here are some additional links to websites and resources that can support you through this process. We have the NYC CTE website. That's the overall CTE page from the New York State Education Department, where you can find all resources connected to Trans-A certification. The Teach NYC CTE website that has resources around navigating the NYCPS teacher application as a CTE candidate, as well as resources that support obtaining certification. The NYCPS CTE site where you can learn more about schools and programs, and then the NYCPS teacher application and support for additional questions you may have for a personalized response. Please follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, um, and Instagram to stay on top of what's happening within New York City Public Schools. We have really active social media platforms where we regularly share updates on the application and recruitment events, as well as news about what's going on in our schools and relevant opportunities for teachers. So join the conversation.